Welcome to a Drop Tent Media production.
Hey, welcome to the Weekday Comics. I'm Dave Permiano.
And I'm Dan DeBriel, and we're here to shoot the shit and talk the news.
Hello.
Hey,
Welcome back.
what's up?
Not much. I never thought I'd say this before, but thank God we're not going up against the women's basketball tonight, huh?
Whew.
We would
Yeah.
get fucking demolished. The men played yesterday, and they're still fucking talking about the women's game.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah, the loser almost got invited to the White House. That's crazy. That's how good the game
I
was.
will talk about that at one point.
Oh,
later.
I think I hear a joke off brewing already. Okay.
Neil's already adjusting. All right, we have a special guest today. All right, where do we start with the acolyte?
Accolades?
That's
Acolytes.
One of those is an apprentice.
Let's start with the
whatever one-
Escalades.
Whatever one means feats. Yeah, we got fucking Mike Rainey here.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you for coming.
He just put out his third book, On Percs. I've read it twice now.
Oh,
Nice.
you're the best, Steve.
Well, I had to fucking get I read it like 2 months ago, and I had to jog my memory a little bit.
Yeah,
But yeah.
you could take two healthy shits and get through that book twice.
It's an easy read. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
really
Thank you.
funny.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Your descriptive power. It's one of my favorites. We got the two-hit podcast, which is two more than we got.
We're working on that first one. Yeah.
Dad Meet with Tim Butterly.
That
And
is great. Really funny.
Tim's the funniest guy on the earth, man.
agreed. I haven't seen him in a while. I'd love to see him again soon. We'll look into that.
Yeah.
And and Lil Stinker's podcast with Jake Matera and John Del Calo.
Dude, one day I am going to meet Casey Anthony.
Oh,
and it's-
hell yeah.
The more that I do Little Stinkers, the more in love I fall with Casey.
Yeah.
I know, that's a creepy thing to say. I know where she lives, but I know the general location where she chills. So Little Birdie gave me some info. So I might have to
Okay.
act on that one day. And man, I'm regretting every one of these words. It just came
I
out
like
of my mouth.
I like when you think of Casey Anthony, you're like, am I the creepy one?
I mean, dude, this is the thing. Like, I've always wondered, even before I started doing a stupid true crime podcast, like, dude, how do women like fall for dudes that have done such heinous shit? But I think pretty much every female serial killer we've covered, I've found some redeeming quality, and I'm like, I love her.
I know she could have been played by Charlize Theron. That's
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
some say she looks like Charlize. Fucking Christina Ricci fell for her. What?
We went for Eileen Warnos. Like, we went on a trip. Like, that was part of like our hunting down Casey Anthony trip. And Eileen Warnos used to live in a motel in Port Orange, Florida, called the Scoot Inn. And it's still there. You could still rent her room. You could request it. They were very easy to deal with. But when we got there, we realized, like, oh, this is an open air meth market. And like, as the sun went down, like, it got sketchier and sketchier. And it was to the point where like we were filming inside of Eileen's room, and there were like dudes looking in, like through like the crack in the curtains to see what we were doing.
Damn.
Yeah, it was fucking scary, man. It's the only, I shouldn't say the only time, because I get scared pretty easily. I'm a big pussy. But I got pretty scared doing that, and I was glad we made it out of there without getting our fucking shit stolen.
Yeah.
There you go. Back to Casey Anthony. Is there? Sorry, I mean, I agree with everything he said.
Yeah.
Does she have another kid? Did she have another kid? Did I hear that?
No,
No,
I
she
don't.
just dropped a Peacock special,
Okay,
which is, I guess, what you could call
it's a
a
peacock.
a euphemism for a kid.
Yeah.
How's that Peacock special doing? Like,
I
it's
did
in the
drop-
woods.
I had to drop the Peacock special.
Okay, because that news was a bit like when you heard Michael Vick got another dog after. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, she figured it
maybe
out.
was she a good mom if everybody's watching her?
Dude, in regards to Casey, I'm stunned that she stayed off social media. And I'm also stunned that she stayed away from porn, because I know there were some lucrative offers out there for her.
Oh, there had
Oh,
to be.
yeah.
I would have been first in line to pay for whatever they put out of her.
Yeah.
And she stayed away from all that. And yeah, she's been out of the limelight pretty much.
Good for her. Yeah,
Yeah.
She did the.
She's
she did-
becoming a detective, I believe, or she's
Oh.
working
Yep.
very
She's
closely.
becoming a detective.
I mean,
What is it? Does every episode end? I did it.
She started like doing research work for a private investigator who worked on her behalf.
Oh, wow.
And I think she's still doing that right now. And if in the Peacock special, they show her working with these people, and like they seem like they really care about her and take good care of her. And
I think I might
maybe
have
that's what she needed.
Huh.
I might have a female detective attraction too. Then I'm thinking of that H.H. Holmes documentary where his great grandson or something, like some relative of his, wanted to connect him with Jack the Ripper to say that they. Did you see this
I didn't
documentary?
know.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's a terrible fucking documentary. Every slight coincidence, he's like, this proves it, and he's got this hot female detective helping him out. And every time this must prove that he's also Jack the Ripper.
He's just constantly pulling down the Murphy bed, like, oh, I guess we better turn in for the night.
Yeah. Start fresh tomorrow. Yeah.
Every episode's that. And I don't think so, Tim.
He's got a Murphy waterbed.
But yeah, I'd watch it for her. But yeah.
God,
I think
that would
gave
be
up
fun,
about
especially
halfway.
if then that woman detective we knew murdered her first child. That
That's
would
true.
add so much to it.
She doesn't have kids. It's great.
Yeah. She's not into the old attachment thing. Yeah.
Step into the shoes of a killer, man. She knew what she wanted to do with her life, which is what I think happened.
And wouldn't let a kid hinder that.
Yeah.
The crazy thing, I'm sorry, guys.
No, please go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, like, the crazy thing is like, I get how overwhelming it can be having kids, but this was like 16 years ago, so she would have almost been out of the woods at this point. Casey, not the kid, but she's still there. But
That's a strong
But
constitution
no,
if that kid can crawl out of the woods.
and it's great. Like if Casey, if she's one kid and done, that's having kids, but you would have been 2 years away from just being able to do what the fuck you want to do.
Right.
All you got to do is just ride it out. It's
Right.
not that bad. If she did it.
If she did it. We don't want any.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching, Casey. I don't know. I think that like the amount of like balls it takes to get into stopping crime as an infamous criminal is like cool.
Well, OJ's there too. I mean, he set out to find the real killer.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Oh, here's a question I posed on this podcast about him a while back, but I'd love to hear your take on it since you're the pro. If OJ had only killed Ron Goldman, would he still be known as a football player first?
yeah. That's a great point, Dave.
Yeah. I agree with you on this. We've talked about this at length. I totally think if he just murdered Ron,
or if she was ugly,
right? If she wasn't a pretty white woman, there's definitely, and I'm not going to list it, but there's definitely a ranking of like human beings that you could go down and find the level where the minute he crosses from this person to that person,
and
the 2,000 yards in one season,
and 213 an hour barely ranks above homeless.
Like loud fat girl. Like, you'd have been all right.
Yeah, like Waffle House, like waitress.
Yeah, there's so many other ways you could have went. Oh, he did get away with it. So I mean,
yeah.
How much time did you do for stealing his own stuff?
Couple years, I think.
I think he was it 2008 when he was convicted?
Okay,
something like
but he
that.
went
He
to
did like 8 years. I gotta look.
Yeah, he didn't do hard time. He went to one of those white collar facilities that has tennis and golf. And...
Yeah, they had to send him to I stole memorabilia prison, not I murdered Nicole Simpson.
It looks like 9 years.
He went for 9 years.
Yeah.
God damn,
Man.
I thought it was way less than that.
Still made the all decade team, didn't he?
Should have.
I remember.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he did. But the best part of those all decade teams was they kept T.O. off because of his antics. But I'm almost positive that OJ was on his decade's team.
That's hilarious.
That's how fucking good he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was other good wide receivers in the 90s.
OJ was getting riled up recently about the Murdoch murders.
Oh, that's hilarious.
He was like, "Can you believe this shit?" It's like,
he leans into it though.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah.
He completely goes and is like, if I had murdered my wife, like winks at TikTok. It's like, all right, OJ. Like, oh, speaking of T.O., good drop, because one of my favorite parts in your book was you do such a good job of like painting like imagery, and like you do such a good job of like explaining what it's like. And you have this line that made me laugh where you said like you were talking how you baptized your second nephew or niece in a T.O.
My daughter,
Your daughter, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, in a T.O. jersey. I laughed my ass off at that. You had a few lines, like I even wrote a bunch of them down because I thought it was so fucking funny. That's like such a great image of like Philadelphia right there.
There's a lot that I regret about that, On Percs era, but I would wear a T.O. jersey to church again to baptize her.
Hell yeah.
Second, and that it got to the point where like those parties were more about me. It was a christening party,
Mhm.
but my buddies and I, we had a baby pool full of Budweisers. And like they were cutting the cake in the kitchen right next to us. We were on my mom's deck, and I was just bobbing for Budweisers with my boy Steve.
The worst beer in the world, isn't that what you called it?
No, Bud Light.
Oh, Bud
Bud
Light.
Light.
Okay.
Is disgusting, and it has nothing to do with what people are riled up about now. It's the only beer that I think I've ever tried where I hated.
Huh.
Budweiser, I loved. Bud Light, I hated.
Oh, I say that about every IPA.
It's
but-
cat
Well,
piss.
yeah,
Yeah.
now there's too many to like even judge. Like there's a billion different beers, but yeah. I agree with you. Bud Light's like drinking glass, man. It's
I
gross.
do. The book is the perfect mixture of complete shame and complete lack of shame at the same time.
Yeah,
Because I check the memories on mine and like just cringe and then make sure that the world can never see it again. I love that you just fucking went there and put it all out there for everyone to see.
Well, it made it easy because there were just so many.
I know.
If there was one here and there, I could be like, just delete that. But
right.
it's just day after day, and it's like during that era, it's like I just had so many pills, and I would just get fucked up, and I would just do pills. Now, every now and again, I do a show like we had the Saturday Night Dirty Dozen shows.
Oh yeah.
Those were fun, but aside from that, I didn't do much comedy. I would write and I would take pills.
Yeah.
And by and large, I mean, aside from being close to losing my family, I had a blast.
I
really had a good time, man.
It was fun seeing the years on that. I'm like, that's the entire time I've known him the most. It's like, fuck, yeah, I hope he remembers me.
Oh, dude, yeah. That was the most fun that I think I've had doing comedy. Like now,
Those shows were
now
great.
it's a different kind of fun. It's a ton of fun now, and it's like, but back then it was like, it was like getting the keys to the candy store
Mhm.
Yeah.
because I would rarely get booked by Helium, and I just happened to get lucky when they just asked if I would want to host the show, and I would get almost total control over who got booked. It's like, yeah, I want all my buddies to come on, and it was just every week it was just me, Dave, fucking Butterly, fucking McCusker, McKeever, just all of our buddies would just come on. It was just
God,
week
all
after
those
week,
names
just
took
fun.
off except for one.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, man, Dave, what happened? What,
Yeah.
did you get sick for a couple years or something?
I did well in those shows. It's just, at some point, a total lack of social abilities.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you have to be likable.
I've never made eye contact with him once.
Now you can
That's
just
hilarious.
claim some off.
There's a point in your book that I was laughing at too, where you are like rip shit on Percocets like every day, and you do Philly's Funniest, and it was like hyped by a radio station. I don't remember that year, but I might not have been in the area at that point, but like it was so funny to hear you talk about that, and it's just like it's like such like comedy because it's like Philly's Funniest. I'm sure it was kind of like it the way it is now. I can only react to like how I've observed it the past couple years since I've been in the Philly area, but it's like people look at that as like a brass ring in Philly comedy, and people like prep for that. You'll be out at Mike's, as and you'll see people working on their shit for a month and a half before they're like prelim, and it's just so fun, and it's so comedy to think like that's happening, but then like you're just like fucking off your gourd on Percs, just like
Dude,
being yourself and just cruising through to like the finals.
Yeah, I thought I was going to do great, and like I think there was I talk about like Helium's Philly's Funniest a lot, and then there's also a local radio station, WMGK, had a Philly's Funniest competition.
Oh yeah,
and that was like that meant more because I think they were giving away like $1,000 or $2,000, which is now it's a lot, and especially like back then, like 10 years ago, it's like, oh my god, like my cable got cut off.
Oh man,
I didn't have money for vacation, so I already had the money spent. I was like, all right, I'm gonna get my Comcast cut back on, and I'm taking my family to to Wildwood for the weekend. And I already had that money spent, and I made it to the finals against Mike Brooks.
Yeah,
Happy birthday in heaven, brother. But it was like, I was like, I'm going to win. I know I'm going to win. I know how great Mike Brooks is, but it's like, I know people will like me.
yeah.
And then straight up, dude. And it was so brutal. The way they did it was like, they had both of us on the line on the phone, and they're like, all right, the loser we're just going to hang up on.
Oh man.
And then,
oh shit.
which is the funniest possible way to do that.
Yeah.
But I remember I went to my parents' house. I don't know why I went to my parents' house, which made it even more crushing that I had to get hung up on at my mom's. And then, it was just, it took a while to get my cable back on, and no beach for my family.
It's kind of surprising, like that you like. I love Mike Brooks. R.I.P. Did you get to meet him?
I knew
ever?
him by reputation, but I
Yeah.
never got to meet him.
He was easily one of the most likable. Like, I book a show in Paulsboro regularly, which I'm pretty sure was a racist town, but I knew he was so likable that he'd fucking murder over there, and he did every time. They hated me, Jewish,
and not likable. We've established,
but Mike Brooks was such a like your strength is in your writing, and I feel like that would go over better over a phone call because he's such a he was such a high energy guy.
Mhm.
Like he fed off crowd energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he crushed it, and extremely deserving. And
Mhm.
I met with like I'd known Mike and I'd done shows with him, but like when we went and the first time we went on that radio show, that was the first time we actually got to hang out and have a conversation, and I got to know like who he was.
Mhm.
And he was just the sweetest guy. And we were just talking about, I talk about the degenerate stuff I want to do if I win the money. And he's like, I think I like to give most of it to my church.
Yeah.
And they do something. It's like, oh, dude.
It's like you can't even be mad about it.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's
No, he was like the most upstanding community member.
the
That
nicest
was,
guy.
that was the biggest funeral I've ever been to.
You can tell like because I think I was in this area right before he passed away,
Mhm.
but hearing people like talk about him every time he comes up, like I think that's the test of somebody.
Yeah.
That's how I want it to be, when I die. Not that people are always talking about me, but when I do come up, everyone goes, good dude, funny. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like that I think is the best eulogy you can give, is those little moments where everybody chimes in and is like, great
Just
dude.
3 words.
Yeah. Great dude,
I-
funny. That's all I need from
yeah,
you, Dave.
I want
That's
my
all I need.
I got to give a speech.
No, you don't
We're
have to give a
under-
speech. You just have to say, great dude, very funny whenever I'm brought up.
Mic
Boom.
drop.
Yeah, that's all you have to do.
All right, so we are agreeing.
was
that
actually-
I'm going to outlive you.
Oh, 100%. It's going to be close. So you're going to be a couple of years. I think you're going to get after me. But
Yeah, mic drop was actually the byline of his obituary.
oh, nice.
No.
That would have been funny.
I mean, yeah, it's clever.
Yeah,
I can
it
see.
was- yeah, I can see a comic doing that. Yeah.
No, but Mike was somebody that like you hear it used, I guess, like almost as a platitude where people say somebody lights up a room. But Mike Brooks was somebody who, when
Mhm.
they came in, you felt better. I don't know what the explanation is, but like when Mike would walk into a room, you would just feel better because of, I don't know, I guess like what he brought to it. And it was just, he was super funny. Yeah, he was super nice, but like he had something that most people don't have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that extra thing you could just see in
Yeah, you
somebody.
can't pinpoint it, but it's
Yeah.
just like he had that thing which made him special.
It was
Yeah.
like I never really lost a lot of friends until I started doing comedy, and then I fucking like because I know like 5 comics that died, and the first 4 were like the nicest dude
Mhm.
that you could ever meet, and the 5th one I didn't like. So it was almost like
I
okay,
can't
so
wait to
we're
find
not
out who this
we're
is.
not just romanticizing the dead. Those 4 really were just fucking great dudes that I don't have a bet. That 5th one, he owed me $20, and I
that fuck.
and I was next level fucking petty about it. I was,
Yeah.
how
all the way
do
to the
I
grave.
approach this 20? Like, is this? It's a loss. I fucking ate it.
You gotta
Obviously.
write it off. But at
Can
least
you
you never
text me who that
forgot.
is?
What?
Can you text me who that is?
I will. Yeah. Remind me. Yes. He was an older guy. Because like the rest of them were ones that died young. Like 2 of them I actually hung out with outside of comedy functions, which is something I've done with 5 comics total. So
That's weird.
I
yeah.
might. That's why I stopped doing. That's another reason.
Oh,
I
yeah,
had to.
you're-
It wasn't my lack of social skill. It was just like I'm not going to curse these people
Yeah,
with my presence.
You were like
Yeah.
watching the Ring video.
Yeah,
Like they were 2
basically.
years after they hung out with you outside of comedy.
I'm
Yeah.
Come
like the little
You're the
Japanese
body
girl.
cooler.
on.
Yeah,
Shit. Well, remind me never to hang out with you after the podcast.
I mean, all I ask is that if I fucking film something for you, if you're not, say thank you when I fucking email you. No, I'm sorry.
May whoever it is rest in peace.
No, Dave, we're gonna piss on his grave. I'll drive you there so you can get another quesadilla and drop it all over yourself.
Fuck.
All right, Mike, I got to ask you, best Disney World ride to be on
Ooh.
Percocets.
Um,
I'm not a painkillers guy, really, so I'm morbidly curious about the high. and
I'll tell
the-
you what, the most joy that I got at Disney was watching this. What was the name of this band? It was like a landscaping band. It was called like Mud, Sweat, and Shears.
Is that a genre or they are just landscapers?
No, dude,
that,
they were
like,
their
the
whole
garage
shtick was like
gig?
landscaping, and it was
Okay.
like a landscaping truck that would pull up. pretty sure it was called Mud, Sweat, and Shears.
Okay.
And I had a motorized
So,
wheelchair.
yeah, but it's mulch,
Mulch,
sweat,
mulch,
and
Shears.
shears.
Wow, you had
Jesus
that queued up
Christ.
fucking quick.
That might
Yeah.
be. That might
He
be.
I
messaged
think that was
the
just on his fucking Spotify.
That was your intro music.
Yeah, that's why his
Yeah.
headphones on. We're fucking right here. He can hear us.
Yeah,
But-
Neil actually ran the lawnmower in Mulch, Sweat, and Shears.
I got them before they broke up, but I remember like the first time that I went with Disney, which was like the chapter that opens the book, which is, when I had surgery a few days before I went. I had my friends rented me a motorized scooter, and I had snuck off on my family. I saw them at Hollywood Studios where they serve alcohol. Now, 2 weeks prior, I had sworn off alcohol to my wife, but because they served alcohol and I had a motorized scooter, I told her that I was going to the bathroom, and I snuck off. And I got a Long Island iced tea, so like I probably was eligible for a Disney DUI. And I came upon Mulch, Sweat, and Shears. And I was just like in heaven. It's like, man, I can't believe I made it to Disney, because I made probably $20,000 a year. So getting to Disney was like, probably
Huge.
25% of that. And I made it, but I definitely didn't make it.
So the best ride at Disney is
It's a motorized scooter on
for
poker
Long
sets,
Island
yeah.
iced tea.
Now,
I
off
love
perks, I would say I love the Tower of Terror.
Oh hell yeah!
And what else is great there? The Aerosmith roller coaster is great.
Oh yeah, that one's cool.
Yeah, they got a lot of great stuff there. And
Yeah.
I can't wait to try the new Tron one. I just went back to Disney and they opened the Tron roller coaster like 2 weeks after I left.
Ah,
Do you still go full family? Because your kids, they got to be adult. Like
Yeah.
at least one or two of them got to be adult age by now.
My oldest, she'll be 20 next month.
Holy shit!
Wow.
My middle, she's 16, and my son's 12. So yeah, we usually go like every 2 years now. And it's funny you bring that up, because I was considering going by myself for a couple days, which I think would definitely end me up on some kind of watch list.
Speaking of, you don't have kids.
I went
Are
to
you on
Disney. I went to Disney. I'm not like a huge Disney guy. I like the park. I went with my ex right before the year before pandemic, actually like 3 months before COVID hit. And it was fun. You did have something that resonated with me in that book, though. I'm gonna have to paraphrase it, but you said like something about being an adult with no kids at Disney is like walking around work with your dick out of your pants or something like that. It was so fun. I was like, that makes like perfect sense, because it does. It feels like you're doing something wrong and like almost sexual, but like weird. It's like it's strange, but you're just in a park enjoying yourself.
I know, dude.
I don't know. Like I was with a girl, so it was like better. We were coupled up, so I think you could look at that and be like, all right, that guy's not a threat. He's there with his
Until we
girlfriend.
remember the age difference between you and most of your girlfriends.
Hey, listen, they can't see that. It wasn't visible. Okay. She had a lot of tattoos that aged her up a lot. Okay.
It's like
yeah.
a tree.
Where do you think I'm
Fucking
meeting these
down
girls,
the
Dave? They got to go to Disney World. No, but like if the three of us went to Disney, yeah, that would definitely be, there would be like a monitor like flashing everywhere we walk.
I think we just found our Patreon.
Send us to Disney.
Yeah, if the three of us went to Disney, we would get a federal chaperone.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is fun. It's like you do feel out of place, and it's like, everybody, they get those T-shirts to say something cute about Disney. I think if you're an adult that goes by yourself without kids, it's like if you go with a girl, you got to get a shirt that says something like, "It's okay, the kids are dead." Like we would be here with them otherwise. That's another thing about Disney.
Red
like,
dot on Google.
there's a lot of fucked up shit that's happening.
I'm a
there.
Casey Anthony fan.
Yeah.
There was a kid got eaten by an alligator there a few years
Yes.
back.
100%.
It's
An animatronic one, or
No,
No.
real alligator. This is one of my favorite.
wow.
This is one of my favorite stories.
I guess not all the fucking Neverland kids grow up. Or I fucked that up. You got the gist.
Yeah, I did.
some alligator in the moat around Disney World ate a kid. He was like staying at one of the hotels that like is
The alligator
adjacent
was.
to the
The alligator
Yeah, the
was.
alligator. Like, he's doing well. I love that story. That happened a while ago, though, right?
Yeah, with the kid,
Yeah,
kid with
kid
the
just
alligator,
got
I would
eaten.
say it's 2017 maybe.
Okay. Well, don't worry, because I got a hot story on the news about another kid who got eaten
I
by an
saw that.
alligator
Saw
in
that,
Florida.
yeah.
So
And his dad stabbed his mom 100 times.
Yeah. That was a crazy story. Yeah.
2016. They do come up. Like this was probably, I think this was right outside the Magic Kingdom. What it was
Here,
it
let me
the
just share this
the
with
Pol-
them
the
so they can
Polynesian
see
maybe?
it, too.
Yeah, I think you're right. And he
Terrible,
was like,
yeah.
they come the fuck up.
Right.
And I mean it's Florida, so they're fucking everywhere. And at one of the places I stayed, which was the Port Orleans Resort, you'll see them creeping up. And it's like I'm surprised like people aren't made more aware of them. I don't know if it's because maybe they scare off easily, but
I think I remember reading at the time it was like the alligators won't normally charge a normal sized person, but this toddler was walking around unattended, and it looks at a toddler and goes, "Yeah, I can take that," you know. So
there's a alligator attack like every week in Florida though. That's the reason they love guns so much, so they're not known as the fucking alligator murder capital of the world. Fuck, another alligator attack. Someone shoot up a school.
I went to a town this time when we just got back from Disney like 2 weeks ago, and there was a town that Disney tried to make like their own. It's kind of creepy, but it's also kind of cool because it's creepy. It's called Celebration, Florida, and it reminds me a lot of the Truman Show, where it's like everything seems like everything's planned.
Okay,
and it's like there's no real like flavor to it, but it's so boring and peaceful that feels like you are about to be murdered at any moment. But they have these signs in the lake in the center of town, which is Lake Reinhardt, and the signs say, "Please don't harass the alligators," which I think is a very funny way to phrase that.
Yeah. Don't harass them. This like ancient like dinosaur.
If you're going to approach them, buddy up.
Yeah.
You got some rack on you.
Oh man. This is great. I also love, I feel like you're such a great guest because there's so much shit that we could talk about, from like comedy to like abuse to like drug abuse, that is, to like murders and things like that. I wanted to talk about murders because I personally like absolutely love that shit. I love murder. It's great. No, I like for instance, I did some work on Ghost Adventures, so I got to go to a lot of haunted places. What was like one of the coolest places, and I know you've been out in the field. What field? You like that? You like that? That's industry term right there.
Yeah.
I just want to like know like where you fuck you, Neil. I just want to know where like the creepiest place you've ever been, like where.
Hey, Mike, you're a Ghostbuster. Go ahead, bud. Yeah, can you hit it? I know you're in the field.
You know what I mean. You got the you got the trap, the ecto trap.
Of course, naturally.
I think the place that I loved and was spooked by the most was going to Spawn Ranch, where the Manson family used to live.
Nice,
dude. It was so fucking cool and creepy. When we got there, John Del Calo, Jake Matera, and myself, when we got there, we parked across the street. There's this beautiful church across the street, and you park there and you walk across the street to where Spawn Ranch was. And as we're approaching it, we hear like women giggling. And we're like, all right, we're just going to approach somebody at some point. And as we got closer and as we walked through where the ranch used to be, like there's nobody there. I don't know where they could have gone. But that added to like what that place was and who lived there and what happened there, just gave it like another creepy element that I didn't expect. Yeah. But Spawn Ranch was like, all that shit. There was a fire shortly after everybody was arrested for the murders. And all of the old Western movie set was like bulldozed back into I guess it's a ravine behind there.
Okay.
So that set's not there anymore, but you could still look by the rock formation above it. Like that's still there. So you can identify it pretty easily. But there's a path that goes down to like where they used to hang out down there in that ravine.
Yeah.
And you see the famous, the cave that they took for the Time magazine photograph. So you get to chill under there.
Nice.
You get, there's just so much creepy stuff. There's initials carved in rocks. And there's just so much spooky shit that it makes you wonder, like, you get like part of why they were able to become what they became is because they were so isolated from so many people. And the only interaction they had was like during the daytime, they would run like a horse rental business and people would come through just to check out the ranch. But by and large, it's like if somebody was hell bent on brainwashing people, that's the fucking place to do it.
Some government grade acid, baby.
Good to know. Good to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they heard any good songs about British playground equipment, isn't that what that's what the book Helter Skelter said? That's what a Helter Skelter is in England. It's that fucking playground equipment that just spins in a circle.
It's like
and the lyrics pretty much represent that.
Okay. Okay.
You get race war out of that. You're onto something.
It's kind of a stretch to get race war out of a British.
I mean, if you're really
rhyme,
looking for, you can interpret race war out of anything if your heart is really set onto it.
You see the black and white in that picture?
Yeah. Hey,
just saying.
Why they got to be separate, right? Everything should be gray.
Because then it's gray. Yeah.
But yeah, regards to Helter Skelter, the house isn't there anymore, but the Tate residence you could still not walk onto the property, but you could walk up to where the road, Cielo Drive, begins. So you could park at the foot of the drive where the Manson family probably parked and just look up there and experience it. And when you're up there, you get why nobody was alarmed that night, because sound travels so oddly, because it's in the canyon and you hear sound bouncing from all different spaces. And it's just a creepy place. Like, one, because you're thinking about what happened there, but also because it just has like a creepy vibe to it.
The hills are creepy. I mean,
Yeah.
if you take the multi-million-dollar homes out,
Mhm.
it's a very strange area.
Yeah.
It's like this weird foresty, like mountainous forest. Like it's kind of a creepy area.
Yeah, and Los Angeles is strange, like on its own, but just that being, the whole area just has a weird feel to it, and but it is something that I'm into.
So that's where I did. I was out in LA working. Every time Ghost Adventures came out there, I was like filling in, doing below the line work. One of the places I got to work was the Black Dahlia Murder Mansion.
Oh, no way!
And that was so fucking cool.
It's like a what is the name of that place?
I forget what they call it now. It's
the Souden House. Is that it? Or
yes,
the Soden House?
Yes. The Souden House. And it's just owned by like some financier now, and it's like a second home. And so he rents it out to like people. I don't know what the hell they had to pay to get in there, but because this was Ghost Adventures, they were let in. And I was doing like B-roll. So we come in during the day and we shoot all the B-roll, and then the actual Ghost Adventures people and their like on camera crew would come in and shoot at night. So we were filming B-roll, and it was great because like it was me and 6 other people. We basically all had to go different places, and me and my cameraman, I was a camera assistant, we were shooting the actual basement room where the murders took place. I gotta say though, when I was down there, the house itself, creepy as hell. Yeah. The basement, it just looked like an unfinished basement with like a dirt floor. I didn't get any vibes. I didn't get anything weird. But when you got up into the house, it's this weird like Spanish Gothic architecture, and like when the sun is going down, like I wouldn't want to live there. It's just a creepy home. But weirdly enough, the room where he was apparently draining women of their blood, no, it just looked like a basement. Just a regular unfinished basement to me.
Well, that guy's son was an LAPD detective. I can't remember the guy's name, but the son who was the detective is the one who said like, "Oh yeah, my dad's the guy who committed this murder."
Right.
But that place is always someplace I wanted to visit. And I
there was a woman in the book or whatever.
Oh,
they have the
was it?
fictionalized version. There's the
okay.
it's set in the same universe as LA Confidential.
Oh,
LA Confidential is the 3rd book in it. It's fucked up though. I read the book, so I don't really know much about it. And he made like the murder Smart, her name.
Yeah, Elizabeth Smart.
He made her like just some Hollywood wannabe prostitute, and in real life, nothing like that.
No.
Which I thought was pretty fucked up to do, an actual real life murder victim. And it turned out he was just basing her personality on his mom's, who was a prostitute who got murdered.
Dude, what is his name?
Elroy James.
Yeah, James Elroy.
James
Yeah,
Elroy.
like incredible writer. Like, what the fuck was the name of that book? I can't remember anything. But
Black Dahlia.
No, but he wrote one called My Something Places, My Dark Places, I think.
Okay.
His mom was actually murdered.
Yeah.
And they still don't know who did it. And that book, everything about that guy's story and about like his mom's story who got murdered, like it's as though James Elroy wrote that. You get exactly like why he became what he became and why he writes the way he writes.
Well, yeah, that's what he put his mom's personality. That's what he said in like the afterword. He attached his mom's personality to this victim that he knew nothing about, other than that she was murdered.
Is he still writing? Is James Elroy even still alive?
Yeah, he did something. I think it was Perfidia is his last novel, which came out within the past 5 years.
Because I have another novel for him. A woman murders her child and becomes a detective. Yeah. Her name, Casey Anthony. Wow, he's still writing. That's awesome.
I would hope there's pictures. No, wait.
Of
the Casey Anthony, not one of the
I was gonna say, I don't think James Elroy makes pop-up books.
Yeah. Give me 2 seconds.
Hey, if he's writing about Casey Anthony, that's a pop-up book in my mind.
Hey.
Boom.
When I watch Jackie Brown, something pops up.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so who's your serial killer Mount Rushmore?
Ooh. Well, I would go Jeffrey Dahmer.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's the first that comes to mind. I just,
Is that like recency bias, or do you think that he's close to your favorite? Because he's getting a lot of hype lately. He's having a renaissance.
He is. And I just think it's so fucked up and inexplicable that it's just a different kind of he's the kind of evil where it's like he's just broken. I think there's some of these people who clearly do some very fucked up shit. When they get caught, they're totally sorry for what they did, but I think he's just somebody who he recognizes that what he did was wrong, but it's just, I'm just broken.
Mm-hmm.
So he's somebody that would be on there. Richard Ramirez scares the living shit out of me.
Yeah.
Just fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got to be the scariest for me because Dahmer's terrifying, but Richard Ramirez legitimately was just like, no, I enjoy doing this. I plan my life around it. I like to sleep in.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. Like, I sleep in when I think about murders. It's relatable, definitely. That was the terrifying part of Richard Ramirez. Yeah, Dahmer's just like, oh yeah, you're just broken.
I'm hungry. Oh,
Yeah. At least I agree. I probably do look tasty. I mean, I'd agree with Dahmer.
You're
there.
a snack for Dahmer,
Thank
baby.
you. Thank
Yeah, you're a snack. Definitely.
I don't think you're his type.
Hey, when a meal's good enough, you make an exception. You make the trip. All right.
Gacy, I would put on there too. He's somebody that was just fucking terrifying. And I think anybody that either invades your home or imprisons you to some degree.
Yeah.
I think those are the scariest guys to me.
So BTK's on my list.
Yeah, dude, him.
Yeah.
Even the fucking the one that Patton Oswalt's wife figured out.
Oh yeah.
That was the sleep
Strangler, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the
Um,
Strangler.
It's like some
One of the Stranglers. I forget which one.
Yeah, the sleep. Oh my god.
Golden
Sorry.
State Killer.
Yeah, the Golden
Golden
State.
State. It was
Yeah.
Golden State.
Oh,
You're right.
not
You're
a
going-
strangler. That's
No, he was just a killer. Yeah.
because if you're the first one from your town, you get to fucking claim that.
You get the Strangler title. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because there was a guy that we just covered for Little Stinkers called Sean Gillis. And one people were pissed saying, like, why didn't you have Shane do this? I'm like, I think he's got bigger fish to fry than a fucking serial killer.
Yeah.
So
So Sean Gillis was killing people until he said a few racially insensitive remarks.
Yeah.
And he had to
Then
stop.
they fucking
Yeah.
brought him down.
Then Twitter said no more.
But he's known as the other Baton Rouge killer because there was somebody that was operating as a serial killer at the same time, but that guy just got caught first.
That sucks. Like I would at least try to claim a borough near Baton Rouge. or something.
Actually, I'm from Lafayette,
Yeah.
Louisiana.
Like how much it must suck to have your copycat killer caught before you,
Dude,
and he's getting all the credit. Like this dude's my copycat killer.
Look at it. Look at that little stinker.
Oh man, yeah. Look at that
God love him.
stash. That womb broom right
Oh,
there.
yeah, that
Holy shit.
That's a distinguishable Mount Rushmore feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to think about that when you're making your Mount Rushmore, right?
Wow.
Distinctive heads. You get
Yeah.
He's
clown
got-
makeup.
Yeah, he's
for
got the
one
name
them.
of Shane Gillis and the face of Ian Fidance there.
That's a
Oh, man.
impressive mustache,
yeah.
Lego head.
Lego head.
It's great. He's got the killer glasses.
He looks like my dad, to be honest with you. If you look at a dad, you'll pass by a picture of my father, and this is him older. It's uncanny.
Your father looks surprisingly like you, Neil. So I don't know.
I know, it's so strange. I
Yeah.
know what I have to look forward to.
That is
Yeah.
a very fatherly mustache.
Yes.
it is.
Like if he was approaching me, not threatened. That's just someone's pop.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's like a Ned Flanders mustache. Huh? It's
He
got
does,
a,
yeah.
It's got a little Ned Flanders there.
This guy, I've never heard of this guy. Okay.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I
even,
hadn't
I'm
either
not aware of
until,
this guy.
like
either.
a month ago, and yeah, it's
That's cool.
frightening how many people are out there. Where I'll
Right.
just find and be like, oh my god, this guy murdered a dozen people, and I've never heard of him.
Right.
Yeah.
How about the toy box
You get to
killer?
do it.
Dude, there's some of the
The
scariest.
toy box killer. Ooh.
Toy box killer. I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
deep
about it.
cut
It was,
shit.
I think it was in New Mexico, but it was like one of these towns where like it seems like this guy. What the fuck was his name?
I don't know if they ever. Oh yeah, because
They
he's
did
mentioned
catch him.
in the. They did catch him.
He wasn't convicted of the crimes because he died
Right.
of a heart attack like
Yep.
during the trial or
Yeah,
while he
yeah.
was in custody.
Should we bet on 2 or 3 names he goes by?
Oh,
Ah,
David
yeah.
Parker
great.
Ray.
Yes.
David Parker Ray.
And he's
right.
see his
Also
mustache. Yeah, the other one had like the stubble going along. It helped.
Yeah.
Just the mustache alone is he kind of has like a dad CPA.
Yeah, and
kinda.
in the picture, on his main picture, he kind of looks like an accountant, but in his mugshot, that's a great mustache in his
Yeah, look at
mugshot.
He
that
looks like
thing.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you think that
Yeah, like in Tombstone.
Mhm.
Yeah, or something like that.
when they're going their day to days before people know, do you think they just go by the 2 names? Is the third name a rite of passage?
I think
Oh,
it should be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you earn the third name. Like you
It's
only
like getting
killed,
knighted.
yeah,
Yeah.
you only killed 3
Or
people. You're not
confirmation.
getting the 3 names. Yeah.
We're Catholic
Yeah, that's-
confirmation.
I think that was my biggest hindrance. I don't care about the lives or whatever, but David Richard Premier, it just doesn't.
I don't know. David
ro-
Richard Premiano does sound. I
it
could
doesn't
see you
roll.
being a
It doesn't
killer.
roll as a serial killer.
Not many Italian
You sound more like a
Serial killer.
hairstylist.
David Richard Premiere.
Yeah.
David,
Yeah.
Wow, your hair looks great. Where'd you get that done? Oh, it's a David.
It's a David.
Richard Premiano.
It's a David. Oh, this? I got it at David Richard Premiano.
That's where you. Yeah. It's
And
a good
also-
quaffing name. Right?
Also, if she had had twins, we might have known her as Kaylee Marie Anthony. But unfortunately,
Aw.
just one. She's just.
she picked out a second. Oh, Kaylee. Oh wait, no,
Kaylee
she'd have
was
to
the-
kill 3. 3 is a serial.
Three is
killer.
the serial killer. She killed 3. We would have known Marie was her middle name, but I had to look it up.
She'd be
'Cause she
fucking
only
Shutter
killed one.
Island.
Yeah, this guy though, he got away with a lot. We don't know who where exactly he did this. So this is like extensive sexual assault, and then he would dope the girls up in a fashion that, and then just leave them out in the middle of nowhere just to get picked up by a car, and then they would go on. He would do terrible things to them. So he's basically like you're doing like government like bleaching of their memory almost.
And
Yeah.
there was a recording. This was New
Oh,
Mexico.
there's
I believe.
multiple recordings. It's
But-
terrifying.
You could hear these recordings on YouTube, and when the sedative would start to wear off and they would be strapped into that chair,
Yep.
he would play a recording from a remote location, and the recording would be his voice telling them what's happened to them and what's going to continue happening. to
So
them.
like kind of like Saw. Is that
Yeah,
that
it
where
is a
the
little
toy
Saw-ish.
box?
Yeah.
Is that where the toy box thing? Because I'm
Pretty much.
kind of.
Well, the toy box thing because his was his life. He would make dogs fuck them. He had a bunch of
gosh.
toys and different things that he would do to them and tell them extensively what was going to happen and what would happen if they tried to fight back.
Oh, wow.
And there was also
Okay.
women and stuff like on his side that were
That's a
involved.
lot
Oh, he
less
had like
playful.
co.
He
He
had,
had,
like,
he had
this
his
was-
Ghislaine with
He
him.
had a
yeah.
couple of he had a whole thing.
And there
Yeah.
might have been local law enforcement helping him too,
Oh,
which
wow.
makes it even scarier.
Yeah, I mean, you find that so often, like in the Dahmer thing, when his person escaped. Now they weren't working with him, but they were so weirded out by like the gay sex that he was able to be like, no, this is just a kink, and they were like, all right, whatever, weirdos, take it inside,
Yeah.
you know, and
And unfortunately, I think
He's normal 28. He just looks at gay 14. over there.
yeah, right. And the cops are like,
They-
ugh,
yeah.
go away.
All
Yeah.
cops think gays age slower, and they do. They do. But you know, yeah.
Gosh, wish I was gay.
Well,
all
that's
the-
that's
yeah.
an interesting
So many of the gay
confession for the
comics are
podcast,
older
Neil.
than me, and I just fucking lap them in aging. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, well, we look like we opened the Ark of the Covenant on this podcast, Dave. We're aging pretty poorly, you and I. But yeah. So that's great. How do you feel, speaking of aging, now that you've kicked the habit? How is everything? Do you feel worn out? Because like I gave up drinking and stuff, and some people say it makes them feel like a new man. I never really
didn't,
felt
no.
that way.
I never did. And it's like out of the 3 things that hit me the hardest, which were booze, cocaine, and opioids, booze hit me the hardest, coke was second, and opioids were a distant third. And I drank almost every day, I would say, from like 1997 until 2012. And I don't know. It was just, I think food affects me more than anything now. It's like I can have close to a hangover with what I eat. And I'm 44 now.
yeah.
So food just fucking demolishes me now. So I got to be more mindful of that shit. But I never had that great physical awakening that people who give up all this shit have.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I'm better off for it, and I don't miss like the multi-day hangovers. But
Sure.
by and large, it's like
Yeah, you didn't have that
Well,
like
yeah.
energetic
No,
thing fill
no.
you
Well,
that
with
some
drinking,
people
you're-
say.
Your body, more than anything, tells you when it's time to fucking slow
Yes.
that down.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When you start drinking on Friday and then having a hangover till Sunday,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
don't need this. Like
Yeah.
I had my fun, and it was
Yeah,
really
that's it.
fun. But yeah,
Yeah.
I also, it's nice to not have to apologize on a whim
Yes.
for whatever you might have said the night before.
Or get to a point where your friends can just make up any lie about you to fuck with you, and you have to treat it at first as if it's not a lie, no matter how crazy it is.
I mean, I was a fun drunk, but I feel like there was people like were just like my spotters or whatever, just that gave me a full recap the next day. Like,
Yeah.
did you do anything the night before except watch me? And I don't even know if they were wrong to do it because they had plenty of fucking good stories that I couldn't retell. But
Yeah, man.
have your own fun, right?
Right.
Make your own stories.
Yeah, you just get to that kind of age. I mean, like, I feel like, when did you give it up, hit rock bottom, what have you?
I feel like I had a couple rockier bottoms. Like the initial one was right before I started Painkillers, and it was Memorial Day of 2012. I I got hammered all day. I sent my wife out for hot dogs because we were barbecuing.
Sure.
And while she was out for hot dogs,
She comes off like a saint.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, God bless her
Yes.
heart.
Stories.
You know, bless her heart. I speak about her like she's dead, but she's doing very well. But, you know, God rest her soul. She could just use the rest. But
There's no one here that can benefit from that news. Yeah.
but I sent her out for hot dogs, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll go get fucking hot dogs." And I was like, you know what? I think I want to go to Atlantic City. And I'd been drinking all day at this point. So I got in my car, and at one point, like we passed each other. She didn't see me, and I was on the fucking Atlantic City Expressway before she even realized that I wasn't just hanging out somewhere around our development. And she called me, and she was texting me, and I would text her back saying, "I'm going to Atlantic City tonight. I'll see you tomorrow." And I spent the night in Atlantic City. I went looking for coke, and like this cocaine angel came out of the sky. And I got the coke I wanted. Then we were out of coke, and crack was his thing. And I was like, "Can we get some more coke?" And he's like, I don't think we can get more soft, but I have hard. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm smoking crack now.
When in Rome.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It was when in
right.
Rome. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I ended up smoking crack that night. I smoked a ton of crack. And the next morning I was like, I got to be done with this. And I swore off. I was resigned to the fact that I was going to get sober at that point. And then less than 2 weeks later, I was working a fanning job, and I just felt like my leg was on fire. And I went to the doctor a few days later, and he told me that I ruptured 2 discs in my back. Oof. And he's like, but you're going to want to take the painkillers. And I definitely didn't need them at that point. And it's like, I was off to the races because it had been 2 weeks since I had any alcohol or anything else. And I was like, God, this is doctor prescribed. So I'm off to the fucking races.
Right. It's okay. The doctor would give it to you if it's bad. Yeah. Right.
And then that was till like 2015 ish. And then I kind of walked the straight and narrow for the most part. I had a few benders a year. And then 2017, I decided like, all right, I'm going to drink again. But that lasted 3 days. And it was like 3 days of just mayhem. And by the third day, it was a ton of coke. And I was supposed to do a radio show with the Delco Proper guys. Okay. And they were at 93.3 WMMR. And it was a big deal for all of us. And I had been out all night doing coke, just getting fucked up. And I made it to the parking lot of the radio station. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to go up. And thank God I didn't, because, that episode would still be alive and well. And you would have heard me, a couple of 8 balls deep.
Yeah.
And at that point, like the night before, I had promised my kids that I was coming home with pizza. I never came home.
Oof. Yeah.
So the next day, like when I eventually made it home, I just wanted to be home in time to open the door for my kids. And I didn't. Like they just all looked at me like I was a failure. And I was. So I got it. And that was the point where I'm just like, all right, I think I'm good with this shit. Yeah. And I gave up all that. And I did like close to 6 years of just strict sobriety up until last summer. I started microdosing mushrooms, and that was a game changer for me. And it was just mentally, I just felt like $1 million once I started that, because I was really down in a hole.
And in like a world where like we actually treated all this shit fairly, I bet you there would be doctors that would prescribe shit like that in whatever way they would present it. It probably wouldn't be like a baggie or whatever, but you know
agree,
what I mean?
Yep.
Like I think microdosing mushrooms, or like actually full dosing mushrooms, there's medicinal properties there that we just write it off to, it's all just drugs.
Yeah.
We almost kind of file it away. I mean, of course, there's also a role for painkillers, like a surgical thing, but we kind of push it all into one pile. Whereas mushrooms, the things like that, like there are other applications. I wouldn't necessarily be worried about a former alcoholic even taking a regular mushroom dose and then falling off the wagon, because it's just such a different headspace.
It is. Did that go into the book writing process, or
no?
Okay.
I think I started microdosing in September of 2022. And at that point, the book was essentially done.
Okay.
And, but dude, I was fucked. I just felt like my brain was broken. It was a combination of stress and just, I was just, viciously depressed. And at that time, I desperately needed it. Like, I took mushrooms once last week. I took a couple of grams, and I thought, like, this is good. This is what I needed at this time. Because like you said, like there is a therapeutic element to it.
Yeah.
Where, in the right circumstances, if you take a higher dose than a microdose, like it almost feels like, for me, it feels like puzzle pieces being moved around. Because I have a tendency, I'm anxious 24/7. I have a tendency to overreact and get emotional about things, whereas like there's a very logical explanation and approach to most problems that I'm presented with. And that's helped me like kind of approach that more in from a logical way, as opposed to more of an emotional way.
Right on.
Yeah,
No.
I agree. I think,
No, it's-
especially like
I'm not
from reading the book and from what I know about you, I mean, like when you're raised in like kind of like a working class attitude, you're like a working class dude. We're not really taught to even deal with the shit that mushrooms can actually like walk you to dealing with without needing to do that shit that I think for guys like all of us is kind of weird going to a therapist, talking it out. Even that can be impossible. But, you know, take a little things, kill your ego a little bit, that shit that's holding you back, that's like hard coded in you. And then you can start addressing shit that otherwise the barriers in your mind are too strong or been too erected too high.
And
So
that's
I
right
agree.
on the money. And I mean, I've gone through all those different avenues, whether it's a therapist, online therapist, antidepressants. To a degree, some of that shit helped, but by and large, I think nothing has been more effective than self-reflection, having good people that I could speak to, and if something's on my mind, you know, vent to them. And just in regards to mushrooms, it's, you know, I've never taken mushrooms, whether it's microdosing or a macro dose, and not been more considerate of other people.
Yeah.
Like there's, for some reason, like anytime especially with larger doses, you know, people will pop into my head that I haven't thought about in years. And it's almost like I can see their perspective on, you know, disagreements we might have had, or, you know, what kind of things might be, you know, influencing them that you know, for example, if I have a problem with somebody, might be able to see like, okay, maybe they're dealing with this right now, which might be why I got that reaction from them. So it's just more of, it's nice to be able to step outside myself and like have that and give me more of a, I don't know, just a more compassionate perspective that I might not have otherwise.
Hell yeah.
Ringing endorsement.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're using it in the military now, right? They're
Yeah,
treating-
I mean,
they're
and
treating for
I
severe PTSD.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've never used it for that, but I totally understand why they would. I think that they should use that shit more often. Because we write it all off as drugs, but I mean, there's some shit, and I mean, like, I almost feel like it's kind of the opposite of booze, where it's like booze. I mean, yeah, you could be like a friendly drunk, but booze kind of makes you inherently selfish and inherently like narrowly focused on like almost like primal things. Like, I want to fight, I want to fuck, I want to laugh, I want to dance. Like on mushrooms, you're like in this a completely opposite like headspace of like, I don't want to say enlightenment's too corny, but yeah, it like pulls down barriers and lets you realize things that you might not be able to overcome otherwise, and it's so valuable.
Yeah,
Sounds
dude,
like you should alternate.
Yeah, right. Just mix them up, baby.
I don't think enlightenment's that far off, because I remember the first time that I took more than I'd usually taken. So the first 2 weeks that I started, I was microdosing. And then one night I was just like, maybe I'll take a little bit more. And I didn't realize like different strains of mushroom will give you different effects. And I had like a bag of these penis envy mushrooms, which are pretty fucking intense. And I just took a couple of them, and it was a lot. And initially I got sick, and I was just laying in bed, just sweating my balls off, thinking like, oh my God, why did I take this much? But then shortly thereafter, for like the next 2 hours, my prevailing thoughts were just about how strong my wife is, both like physically and like, you know, historically and emotionally, just in various stages of our relationship. And that was a very nice revelation, because, you know, there's times where, you know, we're pretty strongly at odds, but to be able to like have that kind of thought that I wouldn't normally have otherwise really, I think, served both of us well in the long run.
Hell yeah. Another ringing endorsement. Ladies, let your men take mushrooms. All right, we got to get to the news.
Yeah, I think we've never gone into the news, but such a beautiful place.
Thank you. I agree.
And now you're about to do terrible things.
Let's bring it right back to our comfort zone.
Speaking of yin and yang, that was beautiful.
Let's hear about the kid that got eaten by the alligator.
This is getting a little
Believe it or not, I got a little something for you.
I have not changed the graphics, so let's just do
Okay,
that
do you
now.
wanna-
We're talking news. We're talking news. Talking news. We're here to shoot the shit and talk the news. All right. Here we
Hey.
go. It's news time, baby.
It's news time, baby. What he said. Gwyneth Paltrow's ski trial highlights Taylor Swift, Tom Brady, and Oprah. This marks the first time a ski accident has brought out so much high society since that one that was able to gather all the remaining Kennedys together.
Yeah. Donald Trump complained on the day of his indictment that Manhattan was a kangaroo court and that he wanted the trial moved to Staten Island. Of course, on Staten Island, giving money to the old slut you're cheating on your gold-digging wife with is just called Christmas. Yeah, that's right, Staten Island. I'm coming for you.
Oh man, he knows the right hashtags to go after.
Somehow the algorithm loves what I hate Staten Island. So there we
True.
go.
Philly tap water is safe to drink and will not be impacted by chemical spill, city says. The citizens were told that they need not worry and that they can still get their daily dose of dangerous chemicals by ingesting a can of Whiz.
Yeah. The university, kind of in the similar vein of Northeast cities, the University of Connecticut won the NCAA March Madness tournament, earning them an entire week in Boston with nobody calling them the R word.
The R word?
Yeah, I feel also
as
a side note, I feel like if you're talking about a Boston accent, like the way they say it, it should be allowed because it should be like their word. You know what I mean? It's not an ARD. It's like an AH.
Right.
Like,
well, there go our positive endorsements for the show.
You know what I'm saying? Though I'm not going to say the word. If someone was from Boston,
it's like cunt in England.
Exactly.
You hear it all the time.
I would let someone from Boston say that word, and it wouldn't bother me.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
I don't think you're the one we're worried about.
I don't know about that.
I am the arbiter.
Yeah, do people scamming at oh man, I wonder how Dan Dupree would react. After nearly dying, NFL's Damar Hamlin urges Congress to put more defibrillators in schools. To further prevent history from repeating itself, he also thinks schools need to implement a weekly guy running into you really fast drill.
Like football?
Yeah.
Jacob Chansley, the QAnon shaman, was released from prison this week. He remains on house arrest and stripped of his title, and the whole world looks to Waffle House, waiting for the white smoke to rise off the hash browns, signaling the election of a new QAnon shaman.
It's good. It's good lore you added to that story.
Yeah, thank you. It's a Pope joke.
Elon Musk passes Barack Obama to become most followed account on Twitter. A feat all the less impressive when taken into consideration that at no point in time did Tom ever lag behind George W. in MySpace friends.
Yeah.
I was running out of time.
It's all right. Mine, I shoved all mine towards the end of it.
You keep going to the cute ones.
Yeah.
They're a little cute.
He's cute
He's
this
been
week.
cute.
He's
It's
cute
a
this
little
week.
cute.
I like it.
I like it.
A titter.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Dave, you'll be happy to know Tiger King star Carol Baskin to close Big Cat Rescue Sanctuary and move from Florida. Baskin said she will be focusing on her marriage and finally getting around to killing this one for the inheritance money.
There you go. Fun. She's not as hot a murderer though.
She could not be a serial killer. She get her whole name.
A husband who allegedly Googled body disposal information now indicted in wife's death. And with this news, Microsoft has announced their search engine Bing now comes fully guaranteed with spousal murder protection.
Okay.
They need that. Yeah, they need whatever they can at this
Bing
point,
will,
right?
Bing will take
Google is
whatever
the
it
fucking
can get.
down.
Yeah,
If
Bing
I'm
will
going to search
take
for something on Yahoo, I'm still going to say I'm Googling this.
The only thing I ever heard about Bing was someone was like, did you know like Bing doesn't filter porn searches? So if you're searching for porn, you want to go on Bing. I'm like, well,
on Google.
I don't. Yeah, I know more direct ways to look for porn. And also like if that's Bing's selling point, like, hey, come here, you fucking pervert. We got all the porn thumbnails. Like that's not good
Google
for Bing.
has it too.
Yeah.
Do they? I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't
you
know.
can go
Lots
off
of it.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't-
can go off safe search mode.
I don't start my porn search that broad. I go
No.
straight to the source
Well,
before
I
I
find
start
them on Summit,
searching.
and I want to see more of their work. And Google's
Okay,
for
that's
a more,
That's
wider
fair.
view.
You're trying to look up artists.
I put in a butt plug and look out my window. That's my kind of thing.
You
That's
just open your
me.
window and scream,
That's
where
just
can I
me.
find porn? All right.
That's just me.
A cafe explosion in St. Petersburg, Russia, kills the country's most famous military blogger. Foreign policy experts agree that dying a fiery death in St. Petersburg, Russia is slightly better than being alive and well in St. Petersburg, Florida.
All right. Cardi B announces voice role in new Baby Shark movie. Although when sources found out it was only voice acting, they asked her, if it's not being filmed underwater, how did that thing get so wet ass?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. It's slow burn on that one for me, but I like it. We mentioned this a little bit. First Lady Jill Biden walked back comments about inviting the losing LSU women's basketball team to the White House. Though the First Lady did say, "We will never apologize for trying to help the self-esteem of 6.5-foot tall women who dream of one day being as famous as that one Russian prisoner."
All right, joke off time.
There we go. All right. Official
Yes.
joke off.
And we bestow upon you the honor of picking a winner.
No, I
Yes.
can't wait.
Oh, and I will say, because I forgot to do it at the beginning of this session, Dave and I, of course, as many of you listeners know, we do not run our jokes by each other. These are the first times that we hear these jokes. And when we have a joke off, we go against each other, and our guest will pick his favorite.
By the way, many listeners for our show is an oxymoron.
Hey, our numbers are fine. You watch it right now, sir. I've seen our numbers. They are growing.
First Lady Jill Biden wants women's champion LSU and runner-up Iowa to get to come to the White House. This can be seen as hypocritical by the First Lady, as the last time someone tried to get a runner-up in the White House, she was one of the people who called it an insurrection.
I like that. I like that. What do you think, Mike?
I think it was pretty good.
A tie? You think? What are you going to give it to one of us? We don't like ties around here. We're competitive.
I'm gonna go with Dan.
Yes.
Son of a
Yeah,
bitch.
baby.
You fucking
Don't worry,
Clean it
Dan.
up.
always buttering up the
Just-
guests.
Let's go clean it up. I'm cleaning it up. Okay.
That was purely based on looks, dude. Don't even worry about that.
I get it.
It's our shared love of Casey Anthony.
You're easier to chase down and strangle.
Okay, this is almost crazy. This next one's crazy. You'd think I wrote it in the moment, given something you said. Authorities in Hawaii are charging a group of 33 people for harassing a pod of dolphins while swimming. Some of the accused men pled not guilty, saying it wasn't harassment. It was a compliment. I said the dolphin was sexy. Okay. Kind of talked about
Look at a
harassing an alligator
blowhole on
earlier.
that one.
Yeah.
Well, if you thought they were queued up until now, get ready for that dump button. Chinese cities are so broke, they're cutting medical benefits for seniors. In the face of this disrespect, the Chinese elderly have come out and told people who passed this, "Hey, we brought you into this world. We can take you out. Remember your sister?"
That was
Yeah.
good.
It's on,
I like it.
on brand
like
for
it.
us. Very
What?
nice.
Very
On
on
brand.
brand
Very
for
good.
us. West Virginia governor signs ban on some transgender healthcare, citing a return to traditional values. Getting even more closer to West Virginia traditional values, the governor made the mining industry exempt, saying a hole's still a hole when you're digging for coal.
That's a great bumper sticker.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
I like that. Should be their motto. Should be their state motto.
All right. I guess similar topic.
Not a joke. Not
Yeah.
close enough for
No,
a joke.
not even.
This
a little
one's
bit.
strong. You're getting killed right now.
Am
Just
I?
like I feel like you're getting killed.
Teen disqualified from Pokemon tournament for laughing upon being asked his pronouns. The tournament only wanted people who identified as they, them, because when it comes to genders. Oops. Fuck. Let me start that over.
Yeah, let's rewind that
take
one.
two,
What?
take two.
Teen disqualified from Pokemon tournament for laughing upon being asked his pronouns. The tournament only wanted people who identified as they, them, because when it comes to genders, why choose male or female when you can catch them all?
Okay. Yeah.
Boy, that would have been better.
If
off
you
the
had
first
nailed it.
attempt,
Yeah.
right?
If you
I
did,
I fucked up right.
you got all the way to like the last three words too. I hate that. I'll probably do that with one of these. I overwrote these. All right. Planned Parenthood seeks to block Utah ban on abortion clinics. They will be protesting in the traditional way. Let me try that one more time. See, you fucking me up now, Dave. All right.
God,
This
It's
one's good.
contagious.
This one's going to be good. This is good content here. I want to get it right. Content. So fucking stupid. Planned Parenthood seeks to block Utah ban on abortion clinics, protesting in the traditional way by standing awkwardly across the kitchen from Utah and going, "So what are we going to do about this?"
Nice. Worth it.
I like
you.
it. The U.S. condemns Russia's arrest of a Wall Street Journal reporter. And they're going to do everything in their power to have him sent back just as soon as they acquire the official measurement for his vertical leap.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I get it.
Yeah.
I like it. During massive storms, the roof of the Apollo Theater collapsed, killing one. Police say more may have died if not for the heroics of one man pulling survivors to safety with a giant hook. Sandman, if you're not familiar.
Took me a second, but
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, Arkansas town basically cut in half by damage from apparent tornado, mayor says. The people of Arkansas are absolutely devastated that something like this came around and tried to teach them about fractions. That was a
We got a
cute
very
little-
tiny,
that was a
cute
cute
laugh
little titter over
from the
there.
producers.
Okay.
I like that. Moderate drinking has no health benefits, an analysis of over a decade of research shows. This throws all science about drinking out the window, and maybe even some about drug use, said Dan DePriel, preparing for after the podcast is over.
Nice.
Thank you.
More Philadelphia stories. Philadelphia train passengers pinned down alleged gunmen until police arrive. When rewarded for their heroism later that night, the group that tackled and pummeled the man said, "Oh shit, that guy had a gun." They're a violent bunch, those Philadelphians. Am I
They
right?
sure are. And now finally getting to the topic we were kind of talking about. This is a two-parter, this one. A Florida toddler found in an alligator's mouth was put in the lake by his father, police say. Disney has optioned the rights to this story, naming it Peter Panhandle. Disney has also signed the man-eating alligator to a minor league contract to play in the moat around Disney World. There you go.
All right. NBA to lift marijuana ban for this season in new contract. And while this rule has been highly lauded by players around the league, it's unfortunate for the 30-team sanctioned clean piss guys who will now be out of work.
Yeah, it's a good job to be a piss guy in a sports league.
I lost my calling.
Sucks. I love weed too much. I would be a great piss guy. Chat GPT has been banned in Italy. Developers are scrambling to make the chat-based AI legally compliant by giving it overly expressive Italian hands.
All right. Let's see. I got two more. All right. North Carolina Republicans look to axe participation trophies with new bill. This news is expected to coincide with North Carolina seceding from the U.S., as participation awards are basically the only reason we allow it to be a state anymore.
It is a participation award state.
Yeah.
I agree. The lone survivor of a Pennsylvania chocolate factory explosion survived when she was thrown into a vat of chocolate. While many say she survived a tragedy, some of us dream of having chocolate forced into every orifice as the entire world explodes around us.
I was just sitting back waiting for the Wonka reference, and you fucking
No, I took it
you
all
took that a
weird.
completely
I
different.
made it
direction.
all
right.
weird.
And if you guys watched WrestleMania this weekend,
Yes.
I sure didn't, because okay, well, you all like it. I'm not gonna insult your taste.
But
Shane McMahon suffers torn quad in surprise WrestleMania 39 appearance. Turns out his quad was already sore going in from how rapidly he had to grab his checkbook every time his dad was in the same room as a woman.
Good. He's still there. He's not leaving. We'll talk about that on another show. Richard Branson's Virgin Orbit files for bankruptcy after rocket launch failures. For those of you who enjoy watching Virgins going broke chasing a dream, your local stand-up comedy open mic will remain running.
Nice. I was ready for my roast in that one.
No, I
Yeah,
took it easy on you this week.
all right, well, that's the news.
Yep, there we go. We did it.
Hey, what do you got coming up? Anything?
Yeah, April 28th, Butterly and I will be at Laugh It Up Poughkeepsie. And then May 7th, I'm doing the official On Percs book release show at
fucking
Helium
nice.
Philly.
Oh, that's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah, it'll
Cool.
be fun.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Let's
what about you,
see.
Dave? What do you
Yeah,
got going on?
I'm back on the drop tent circuit on
Yeah.
Get a break.
on Hitler's birthday.
Yes.
We wanted a Jew, so
Yeah.
the 420 show.
Oh yeah, baby.
I'll be at the White Horse Brewery.
What, do you know the gig or do you not know the gig? What the fuck is your problem? Then you look at me like I'm your papa.
I said it right, didn't I? It's,
Yes.
it's the White
You'll
Horse
be,
Brewery.
you'll be at
that's
White Horse.
I even
Brewery,
know
yeah.
people that
No,
live
it's
there.
a
They're not gonna
winery.
go, but
It's a
I-
winery, but yeah,
Oh, right. I'm not
kind
gonna
of
fucking
nailed it.
drink anything anyway.
Yeah, it's
All
fine.
right. So you'll see me perform completely sober
Yep.
on 420.
Cool, man.
Fun.
Dan, where you
Fun.
at?
Off weekend for me. Just be enjoying comedy as a fan. Going to see our friend and your other podcast co-host or host, I should say, Jay Yoder. He's doing a theater tour. He's wrapping that up, so I'm going to go see him in Reading tomorrow. Then I just got to do like family stuff, girlfriend stuff. So off week for me.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you, Neil? You got anything else?
Yeah, just go to IamNeilwood.com. You get all the dates and details for Myers Brewing Company, Wissahickon Brewing Company, Autumn Lake Winery, and also White Horse Winery, like Dave mentioned. You can get all the dates and details for the shows over at my website or drop10.com. Go there.
Hell yeah. All right.
All right.
That's
This-
our show.
boom.
Mike, fucking great to see you again.
Guys, I had so much fun doing this, and this was a blast.
Oh my God, the pleasure all the way over here. You'll have to come back again because I feel like we
Can I have
barely
some of it?
scratched the surface. No, the barely scratched the surface on like everything we could have possibly talked
Yeah, I
about.
really enjoyed
so.
talking with you guys, and it's Dave. It's awesome seeing you again, man. I feel like it's probably been like 7 years since I've seen you, and you're just as handsome and as spry as ever, man.
Oh,
So
geez,
it's
he
good
was
to
that bad when you
Jesus
met him,
Christ.
huh?
Well, I did have a big facial deformity last time you saw
Yeah, I
me.
must miss it,
probably.
man. I was gonna give it a kiss.
The hole's still there. There's
Yeah.
still a hole to kiss.
I really appreciate you guys having me. This was a lot of fun.
No, thank
Hell
you
yeah.
so much for
And yeah,
coming. This was awesome.
Definitely check out Dad Meat and Little Stinkers.
Yes,
And I think we might have Matera on pretty.
hopefully, yeah.
He said, "Let me get." He takes a fucking day and a half for everything. He's, I think so, but I'll get back to you. So
He's
yeah.
in Alaska right now.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's doing the comedy
yeah.
festival there.
Oh,
and,
awesome. I
He's,
did
he's
see
really
that.
hamming it up out there.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But
I
if you,
love
yeah,
Jim.
if you do like girthy men, we have Jim Gillespie here next week.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
so
do. The
fucking
beef.
funny, man.
We are bringing the beef tomorrow or next
That's
week. I
true.
should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So come back for that.
Yep. And thank you so much for listening, y'all. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. Well, there we go. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Oh, man, that was a. we fucking landed that like Kerry Strug should have.
How you doing? This is Neil Wood from the Cult of Us podcast, speaking on behalf of Drop 10 Media Network, the network you're currently listening to. Make sure to check out all the other podcasts on the network. You can go to drop10.com to check them all out. Make sure to like, subscribe on everything that you see Drop 10 on. We appreciate it. Go to drop10.com now.
This has been a Drop Tent Media production.